All right, fourth and final segment of the Film Your Own Hunt series. At least for now. I can always add on to it later. My thought is if I get enough questions and answers, if I get enough questions and I think I have the answers, I'll maybe make a fifth segment to this. Now the coffee's kicking in. And as you can see, I talk a lot faster. That's one thing that I was talking earlier in one of these segments, and how everybody acts different when the camera lens is pointing at them. There again, when I just film myself, that's probably a better representation of really my personality and who I am in everyday life. I'm trying to give as much information out of respect for your time. I'm probably talking a little bit too fast in these videos. But again, that's just something I'm not necessarily all that used to staring into the lens of a camera here. So I don't care how long you do this, you're still learning and growing. Just like hunting, you're always learning and growing. And that's the beauty of it. If you've got something that you can master, well, once you get to the point where you master it, it's not that interesting anymore. Video production, filming, editing, that stuff's all the same. That's what makes it so great, is you should be constantly learning. If you want to be good at it, you better be learning all the time. One of my films that I just put together, A Perfect Hunt, I talk about Matt Thoft as a bush pilot. He's phenomenal. You know, everything about his plane is neat, meticulous. The maintenance, every landing he makes, he tries to make it better than the last. And that's why after, 15 years of flying, he's, pretty much an expert bush pilot. I mean, not to say he is the best, but boy, he is dang good. He's got a lot of natural talent, but I think maybe more than anything, he just has this drive and this passion and this love for it, and he always wants to make his next landing better than the last. And it shows after 15 years of compounding that initiative and drive and work ethic. He's phenomenal. And so this is no different. And so I'm happy to share what I've learned over 20 some years of filming to try to cut your learning curve down. So again, we're talking about filming your own hunt, and this is segment 4 in this 4-part series: post-production overview and preparation. So I mentioned earlier that I am not an editor. I just don't have the patience. I do a lot of writing. I'm in front of a computer enough as it is, and so I hire people to do my editing, and I've learned a lot from them, and we are always, what's the term that I'm looking for? Collaborating and trying to tell a better story together. And so I don't know all the technical terms, but this is coming from a producer's standpoint, someone who's getting all the components together. I'm gonna need that. So this is all about having all the components that one is going to need to successfully edit a project. So think of your film like a book. A book is built in chapters, and the opening of the book needs to grab the viewer, the reader's attention. So your film should do just that. Apologize for the wind here. The opening sentence, like if you read a short story or magazine article, usually that first paragraph, it's got to grab your attention. So let's say use my like a bear hunt, for example. I might start with sneaking in close and seeing him for the first time and he's 40 yards away, or maybe we were so close I could smell him. Start with that, something that's going to grab the viewer's attention. Let them in, give them a sneak peek at, basically let them taste the frosting, but they're going to have to wait for the cake. Okay, so give them a sneak peek and build their intrigue and their interest at the beginning to grab their attention. And then you're going to like revert back, kind of like maybe back in time, but you're going to start another chapter. And I gave the analogy of a roller coaster, right? You want your story to go up and down, have highs and lows. And so each chapter is kind of like a little micro story in and of itself. One chapter you might describe the character, the people that you're with. Okay, tell some funny stories about them, or how they're unique, whatever it is. And then another chapter might be about the setting. So one segment you'll talk about the conditions that year, the deer herd or the elk herd, why you're there, maybe a little history about the area. Again, get people to feel like, don't tell, show. Get people to feel like they know, understand that area that you're hunting. Again, capture the personality or the interactions between the people. So, you and the people that are in your camp, get some camp shots and some jokes. If there's somebody that's particularly funny, try to capture a couple of his jokes. If there's somebody that's a big, strong guy and you bust his chops about it, make him go get the wood and stoke the fire or something. And so to complements, film things that will complement the people's real personality. Maybe you got a woman in camp. Don't shy away from that. You might get slapped in the face for it, but it'll be interesting TV. Just not that you have to be rude or anything, but just say, oh, we've got our lady in the camp. Or maybe one guy does the cooking. Focus on that. Rib them a little bit. Ask them some questions about it. Get a flavor develop that flavor. That's what gives your hunt and your film a flavor. And being real, bring realism, believability, and impact to your final message and your takeaway. Is if, again, the more real you are, trying to get my point here, the more real everything is to you, the more in each one of your chapters and your segments of your hunt, you're describing it truly through your eyes. When you come to the end and you try to bring it together and make one takeaway or make one point that's going to impact your viewers' lives in a positive way, if you were honest in every step along the way, every little chapter, everything you filmed, everything you said, whatever your takeaway is, your audience will believe it, and it will impact them. So every one of those little itty bitty pieces that you're adding to it, that's what makes it. I mean, it's like you go to Disney World, right? Yeah, you wouldn't have to have, I've never been to Disney World, and Lord help me, I hope my kids never ask to go, because I don't think I would. I do not want to be stuffed in with all those people and wait in those lines and see all that man-made crap. I want to go to the wilderness, man. I want to take my kids hunting in Alaska someday. But as an example, Disney World, it probably doesn't need every slide, every picture booth, every water fountain, but that's what makes it so extraordinary, and anything so extraordinary is to have all those details covered and have that scope, that depth, enriches the story. And your final takeaway, again, be real. Challenge yourself. Ask yourself some hard questions. Say, is this it? Is this my ultimate takeaway? Is there nothing else for me to say or share about this hunt? And if the thought of sharing it, a particular story or telling something in a certain way, makes you squirm a little bit, that probably tells you you're on the right track. That you're probably going. The reason why you're squirming is because you've probably never seen or heard anybody say or share anything like this before. And that's the kind of stuff that makes a difference in people's lives. That's the kind of stuff that people remember. That's the kind of stuff that people are going to want to go back and watch again and again. I'm like almost the only one of very few people in any realm, any video production realm, still producing DVDs. I'm putting stuff out on YouTube, and digital content to come, but kind of my plan is I'm going to put stuff out in DVD and leave it there for several years. before I release much of it anyways, digitally, because my goal is to make these films good enough, and I know from a lot of the people that purchase my content, they tell me that they almost wear my videos out, that they watch them over and over and over again. And the only why I think that is because I don't try to edit it too much. I just show it as it happens. And I think through the course of these, kind of like a podcast, like Joe Rogan's podcast, I just had a conversation this morning. You know, you have some podcasts that are like, I'm not a big podcast guy, but I will listen to Joe Rogan's because I like his perspectives. I like that he's open-minded. He can talk to anybody about anything. And Joe Rogan has this ability to dig in deep and pull these stories that interest me, at least. The depth of the conversations that he has with his guests, they intrigue me. The superficial stuff that, you know, in a half hour, or let's say a 22 minute, 30-second TV episode, you can't really, you know, you can only scratch the surface. Joe Rogan's podcasts are 3 hours, man. He peels away the onion. That's what I feel like. The more you can peel away the onion of your experience and those that you're with, you know, and not force it, people will gravitate and relate to that. And if you try to make something that it's not, if you try to tell more of a story that's there, or a story that's not true or authentic, everybody's going to know it. People are going to see right through it, whether they, or at a bare minimum, they're not going to relate to it. It's not going to speak to them. They're not going to be impacted by it at all. So while it's hard to do that sometimes, to just really be truly yourself, after you do it, it's actually quite easy. You know, we all have guards and barriers up to some degree, but the more you can shed those away and just be true and honest, I think everything, including just life in general, becomes more easy. And lastly, my wife and I have this conversation we just did the other day. She's like, I'm the kind of person that likes to have everything perfect before I do it. And I said, yeah, that's why you don't do anything. And she laughed. You know, I was joking, but it's true. And we've all been there. If you want to start anything in life, and that isn't just the case with filming a hunt or whatever. If you want to do anything, you've just got to get started, because there's no better teacher than experience, you know, particularly mistakes, though that's the best teacher. Get out there, get started, make some mistakes. You're going to look like a fool. You're going to do things you regret. We all do. I don't care who you are. You're going to screw things up. I mean, I guarantee you E.T. or Jaws, I guess, is probably the oldest that I can think of that Steven Spielberg produced. Looking back at it now, I bet I watched that film and just kind of scratched my head and just, you know, that was a classic film, right? You watch it now, you know, 30 years later, however old that film is, you know, but at the time, I mean, that was like, you know, a blockbuster film. And I'm sure Steven Spielberg, when he put it out, he was probably like, man, this is awesome. This is my best work. I'll never do better than that. I'm sure if he watched it today, he'd probably think, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. You're always going to do that, but you got to start somewhere and put something together. It's never going to be perfect. Do it as good as you can and move forward and learn from that one for the next. And so ultimately is just share your experience and tell your story and enjoy the journey. If it isn't fun, you're not going to continue with it anyways, so make sure you always keep it fun. I've had a lot of guys come up and tell me, yeah, I tried filming my hunts and whatever. It's a lot of work and I just hated it. And a lot of them that do it, they either try to film it for like a year or two and then they're either into it or they, you know, do away with it. You know, it's just too much for them, and that's fine. It's good for me. It's less competition that way. No, but so if it's too much, and if you try to do too much with it and you're not enjoying your experience, that'll shine through in your production. So start off small and learn along the way, enjoy the process. I love it. I mean, I like guiding more than I do hunting for myself, because I get to share my passion with other people. And I think maybe even more than guiding anymore, I enjoy storytelling, because by guiding, I get to share my passion with one person at a time, but through storytelling, I get to share my passion, my perspectives, my story, my experiences with many people for a long, long period of time, long after I'm gone. Hopefully people are watching my videos and reading what I've written, and I take a lot of pride in that. I get a lot of satisfaction out of that, just knowing that you know, my perspectives are going to be shared, and that I'm going to, more importantly, is that I can possibly impact other people's lives in a positive manner long after I'm gone. And again, that's why I'm doing this, for you know, putting this series together, is I want to encourage you guys that are doing this kind of stuff, you know, trying to share your story. I want to try to help you along the way as much as I can. So if you have any questions for me that I can help you out with, let me know, and maybe we'll make a fifth part to this series. So again, thanks for watching this. God bless. Best of luck on all your hunting adventures, and keep the camera rolling, and yeah, blaze your trail. Let the Spirit lead, and just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I think maybe that more than anything, if I had to take a little bit of my own advice, is give advice for my grandkids. Put yourself out there. Don't stray from who you are, what you believe, and let the cards fall where they may. At the end of the day, you're going to sleep a lot better at night. Again, God bless. Thanks for watching.